Welcome back to TEFL Teachers Record Module 1 Part 3, and we will now introduce Unit 4. In Unit 4 we will talking about setting the stage and how we distribute the students and how we seat them according to our activity or according to our lesson. So we have different forms of setting, like we can see here. The first layout A is called opposing team. It works perfectly well in contests and in competitions when we have two opposing teams. So each team will take the one corner, and we will face the desks, make the desks face each other. So we will give the opportunity for students to discuss and come to solution. In layout B, this called student, in the case of student-led lesson, so we will give the opportunity for students to make a proper eye contact, and they can make long discussions. So we sit them in the circular layout, and we go to the layout C. And this layout works well with Kagan strategy, pair, share. So it's A-B rule play. So we put here A-B, and in the opposite we will inverse the two letters. So we put here A, and here we put B. In the layout D, this called a horseshoe layout. It looks like a horseshoe. So all the school can make perfect eye contact, and they also can make discussions, long discussions, and also can see the board and the teacher properly well. So this called a horseshoe, as said, layout for a whole class discussions. The layout E is the traditional one, which each two sit in one next to each other. The last one, where each group is an island, so each group is working separately. So we divide all the classroom into small groups, each group working together separately, and we call this island. So each group is an island itself. Now we will go to the classroom rules, and each teacher, she has the whole chance and all the choice to put or to set the classroom rules, but she has to take in her mind that the classroom should be achievable and should be effective rules also. So for example, I will give you some examples of effective and ineffective rules. The effective rules, like only speak English in the classroom, switch off your mobile phone and never answer it in class, be on time for class and come back from break time on time. If another student speaking, show interest and listen properly. For ineffective rules, the rules that doesn't make any sense, like silence in the classroom. You cannot control this all the time. As well, it's not healthy to make all the classroom stay silent all the time. Don't ask questions. Of course, it's ineffective to make students hold their questions. So how can you assess their level and assess their understanding for the lesson? Only sit next to the students that you already know. So also it's ineffective because it's good to make students know each others and introduce themselves to each others to make a good rapport and good community inside the classroom. Number 4, it's okay to say small sentences in your language. So now, of course, don't do that. Don't set it as a rule, okay? Now let's go to instructions giving. How can you give instructions? if you want to give orders for your students or to set the rules for any activity, so there are two ways. The first way is the way of untrained or inexperienced teachers that might think it's useful to constantly repeat words. So you continuously repeat the orders, and they don't understand anything. So or speak loudly. So in this case, you make your students struggle and confuse, and you will make things worse. But instead, you can follow some rules, so it will help you to give a perfect and clear instructions for students. Like number one, use simple tenses and short sentences. So don't use a complex grammatical sentences. Instead, use simple tenses and make it short as you can. Number two, show them instead. So instead of giving them long and prolonging procedures, no, instead show them by yourself, or take a student and make him do what you want. Number three, plan the activity beforehand. So you have to make a good planning. Good planning make it perfect. So make a good planning for your activity before, and put in your mind all the problems that may encounter you. Number four, use easy language. Of course, try to use simple language. Don't use complex language or difficult language for them to understand. Number five, at the end, when you finish explaining all the problem or all the activity, ask simple questions just to make sure that they are ready and they are understanding everything. And we are done of unit 4. Now we will go to unit 5, Icebreakers. Icebreakers is helping students to get to know each others very well, and to feel or build the feeling or belonging, and to feel ease and relax it inside their classroom. So there are many ways or many activities that you can do at the beginning of the year to help them to get to each others or get to know each others very well. Number one, introduce your partner. So instead of asking the students to introduce themselves, and it would be very boring for them and for the listeners to their classmates, ask them to introduce their partner. So give them a short time so they can ask many questions to their partner and to prepare a speech about to introduce their partner instead. So in this way, you will force them to be a good listener to their partner, or to listen to each others and get to know each others very well. Number two, instead of using first person form, they will use third person form. And what is third person form? And instead of saying I, they will say he, or she, and all the form, like using s at the end of the verbs. Now the game number two is teachers tic-tac-toe. It's like XO game, but instead of putting notes and crosses in the boxes or in the squares, they will put answers for some questions. For example, the number 3 in this square refers to a question like, how many brothers do you have? And this question refers to the teacher. So the teacher should fill all the squares with answers about herself. And that will help the students at the beginning of the year, if they already know each other very well, to know their teacher also and feel relaxed too and interest. It looks interesting to them, and distribute the feeling of the feeling friendly attitudes. Number 3, mingle. Find someone who. Mingle means to mix. So they have to mingle together to all students will have a handout. In this handout there are many questions like someone who traveled to Spain, someone who ate yesterday's spaghetti, someone who played karate. So there are many questions, personal questions like that, and the students should ask each others until they find the person who did so. So this activity is perfect as to get students to talk to as many people in the room as possible. So they will not talk to one partner only, but they will talk to all each others until they find the answer. And the element of the competition can be added by making the activity into the first person who finish will win. So this is a great activity at the beginning of the year to force students or to encourage students to know each others and to ask personal questions. It's all out of the mold. And that's the end of Unit 5 as well.